How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Livingston with us. He can say his name, what he does in the band, and all that stuff.
So my name is Chris, and I am a member of the band Livingston. I write, play guitar, keyboard, and just about anything else I can make some sounds with. That's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. So the first question, Chris, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but I always love hearing the anthology of a band. So how did you start out Livingston? How did you get involved with the band? Were you an original member, or did you wind up joining? Just what's the story behind all of it?
Well, I am actually one of the founding members, myself and the singer. We met in a small little bar many years ago, and just got chatting. He was performing there solo actually, and yeah, we got chatting and just really got along. I figured out we had a lot in common,
Mhm.
and then just started hanging out, and I started to actually with a different band perform at the same place some evenings, and bit by bit we started to plot to play together in a band. And then actually the full story, I mean, I'm not going to bore you with the full story, but basically what had
You can
happened
tell the
was,
full story. It's cool.
well, so what had happened was I was working in a club, and it just got a little bit too crazy and hectic at the time in this
Mhm.
place. And one day I just packed up my bags. I traveled about 2,000 kilometers, I guess, to a little coastal town, and ended up staying there for quite a while, just to kind of clean my head. At some point, I even moved into a tent, like next to a forest,
Oh,
and
wow.
and so basically, where I came from, it was a kind of small town mentality, I guess. People were talking. People had heard like Chris had lost his mind. He's sitting in a tent, like staring out into the distance. And so at some point, I went back up to the place where I came from, and my now singer called me up, and he was like, "Hey, man, we need to have a meeting." I met up with him, and he sat down with me. He's like, "First of all, I heard you'd gone crazy." So I'm like, um, "Well, I heard the same thing." He was like, "Okay, cool. Anyway, so do you want to play in a band with me?"
That
So
was the second thing.
that was the second thing. Yeah, and then we started to play together in a band, and at some point he was like, "Well, we need to go to London. That's where everything's happening. So we
Mhm.
just need to figure out how to get there, beg, borrow, steal some money, and just go there and make our dreams come true." And that's what we did. So yeah, we just saved up some money, and then got a place together in London. He went actually initially before me, but then I joined up with him later, and yeah, that's the gist of it.
There we go. I've never heard living in a tent to go to be like, hey, you want to be in a band? That just seems like quite an interesting jump in reality. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
enjoying the nature out here, like literally. Well, I'm green screen, so this is not
Yeah.
this is just ironic that my background happens to be this, um but I feel like for me, I've been doing this for like 4 years. I've never heard somebody just like, yeah, I'm living in a tent, just gonna, everybody in my town thinks I'm nuts, and then I join a band, and now
Yeah, yeah.
now I travel, and I'm still living in like a van or something. But I think it's really cool. I'm glad you guys wind up figuring it out, and obviously recording some music. And then how did you guys come across like the other members of your band? Because I know it's not just you and your vocalist, correct?
Yeah. Well, we I mean, London is it's just such a great town for meeting artists and musicians
Hmm.
from all over the world. It really attracts all kinds of interesting people. And basically, our technique was, we tried to be kind of professional about it. We were like, okay, no, we need to get some more guys, and we need to find the right guys. How are we going to do it? And then we just started to go to like venues
Hmm.
and meet people, and bit by bit we just started to kind of network and meet people, and we actually then got to meet quite a few from quite a big, like pop and rock music college in
Hmm.
London. and basically our bass guitarist was from there, our drummer was from there, and our guitarist were from there. And yeah, and so it was. Uh, it ended up being quite an adventure as well, meeting lots of different interesting musicians and auditioning some interesting people. But then in the end, found people that just all gelled together.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very cool
And
too.
we had to
And
do a lot of bluffing as well because we obviously we were like, yeah, like we got great songs and yeah, we're gonna do it. Like a lot of BSing and but anyway, it worked.
you have
So
to do the pitch. I feel like if you're in a band like and you're like just starting out, you gotta
yeah,
have people like interested in what you do. So like
absolutely.
you're just like, yeah, we're just like the next big like pop rock
Yeah, yeah,
band,
yeah, yeah.
we're here, but by next year we're gonna be doing like arena tours, all that sort of stuff,
That was it. We were telling them like, no, we got so much stuff lined up, record deals, management, but yeah,
It wound
that
up
wasn't
working
quite
out
it.
for you. I mean, it might have been a white lie at the moment, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's that it's that I always think about it like this. It's like that positive influence. Like you're just like, wow, this band's gonna go somewhere. Like, oh my god, like that's so cool. Now
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
more invested in it. If you're just like,
Yeah,
I don't know, like I don't know about this band, like blah blah blah.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like people wouldn't be as invested. So I think you guys are winding up doing the good pitch. So good for
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys.
It worked.
But the next question, Chris, would be who are you guys influenced by? I guess you could speak more broadly about the band, but as you individually, who inspired you, who influenced you to start to play music?
Oh, for myself, it was quite a mixed bag. I mean, in my house, there was my folks really liked classical music. My mom was a classical musician, and
Oh wow.
so we had pianos and violins and mandolins and things in the house when we were growing up. I've got three brothers, and we all actually ended up playing musical instruments.
Hmm.
And but then also, my dad really enjoyed country music, so it's quite a bit of country music playing as well. I guess it was quite a mixed bag of things, but I think those were the two main things. But I would say my first really kind of big goosebump moment was I think it was probably Bon Jovi.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, I definitely remember where that was like, damn, that's really cool. Big, massive choruses, big drama, and the sound, and so different from the classical and country that we've been listening to. So, but then with the band, it was very mixed, also because the guys we all kind of come from different places,
Hmm.
different countries as well, and um, I think everybody had like brought in their taste and their influences. The mutual ones that we had were, for example, the band Brand New.
Oh
We all
yeah.
really liked, and Biffy Clyro, we all really enjoyed as well. Um, yeah, but otherwise, there wasn't really one kind of group of bands, if I can put it that way, that were our influence. It was different bits and pieces, everything from Depeche Mode to Sting to much heavier stuff like myself and the bass guitarist Phil. We also like Bring Me the Horizon or Asking Alexandria,
Hmm.
things like that. So mixed bag.
Yeah, I feel like even like with the artists that you've mentioned so far, it's kind of like that wide spectrum. And I try to do my homework and listen to the bands that I have on. And I was checking out some of the material that Val had sent over. Shouts to Val, love her.
Yeah,
Um, but she had sent over some of the stuff, and I was just listening through to it. And like as we were in waiting period, which we won't talk about, but you know what I mean. Chris knows what I mean. But I was listening to some of the stuff, and I was just like, it's so cool to hear like the diversity of some of the bands that you have mentioned, like Bring Me the Horizon to like Biffy Clyro to stuff like that. You can hear kind of the full spectrum of all of the bands that you've mentioned, and I always love asking this question because to me, it's like if I know I'm going to be doing, like, if I'm going to check out the band, which I usually do before the interview, it's
yeah,
always cool to get those kind of answers that you gave where you're like, okay, these are the bands that we feel like we're influenced by, and just kind of like, it's a good thumbs up check for me to be like, wow, I got it spot on. Or if I'm like completely wrong, it's kind of interesting to hear that perspective too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I guess it's always an interesting, it's an interesting thing to hear how much the band's like influences actually influence their music, or if it completely takes a new spin. I guess in both cases, it could be very good.
Yeah, no, I feel like with your stuff, it does feel like that, but also at the same point, where your influences lie, but it doesn't really take over the full sound. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
there's still gonna be some extra things that make you different from another band, and that's what I feel like. When everybody says like, oh, like these are bands I'm influenced by, I don't really take that to heart as much, but I'm like, wow, this is something like if I'm listening to a song, I'm like, okay, yeah, now I can hear that in there,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
fully sound like that. But now I'm getting that
Where it
their
comes from,
re-edition
no,
to
I
it, where it
totally, I
comes
hear
from.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So definitely like that. Also love the shout out to Bon Jovi as a New Jerseyan. He is from New Jersey, so
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like I have to give the shout out to Bon Jovi. He's
yeah,
a
yeah.
he's a New Jersey treasure, so I gotta give him
Yeah,
the love. But
yeah.
the next question, Chris, keeping it more current, what have you been jamming recently? What's on the Spotify? What have you been listening to lately?
I have to admit, I've actually just had an interview a couple of nights ago where I had to also admit the same thing. I've had the Bring Me the Horizon album on kind of on repeat,
The newest
almost
one?
the newest one. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just one of those things where it's like when I go for walks now during this lockdown period and stuff like this, put on my headphones and I'm like, oh, just gonna check something else out, and then I always end up being like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna listen to it, just blast it away, walking around, So to be honest, this is gonna be hopefully my least interesting answer tonight, but that has been what has been on my playlist. I mean, I have also I'm just getting out my phone here to actually check as well. Um, the other one I just have mentioned, Asking Alexandria, their
Mhm.
new single, The Violence. Is it their new single? I think it's their latest single. Yeah,
Or newest, yeah. I know what you mean.
new. The Violence. I mean, that I really like that band. That's a killer single to me. But then their album, which is it's also titled Asking Alexandria. I've
Yes.
I've just been really listening to that a lot as well. That to me is just a really nice gem of an album. Yeah, but does Spotify have a recently played? It does. Yeah, and there I see it. Oh yeah, just it's just the same stuff.
It's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay, Chris. I'm fully on board with both of those answers. I feel like I'm a little bit more biased to the Bring Me the Horizon. I really
yeah,
thought Amo's fantastic. I know a lot
yeah.
of people that's like a mixed bag, but
Mm.
I've been a fan since like early on when they were like super heavy. People like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, they're going to stay super heavy. And, the thing that I appreciated about their band, especially even with Asking Alexandria too, is that their growth over the years, they haven't just kind of stuck to
super
one thing.
interesting. Yeah,
They're
yeah,
just super interesting. They're like their discography from like Suicide Season to like Amo and obviously the newest EP. Those it's just quite a like it's a
yeah,
progression, and
yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, I really like that as well. I mean, it's an interesting thing as well. One of the things that we get asked a lot is like, how do people react when they hear our new stuff? Maybe that was going to be one of your questions, but it's like, um, it's actually it's very tricky. You have this sense of responsibility to always give the people who enjoy your music something that they feel comfortable and recognize with.
Mhm.
But but I have to say that's not really something that is our way. We really like to just express or put out what we've been going through, or
Yeah.
what just comes out. And there is always this side of the reaction from people who like your music that are like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what the hell is this? And I could just imagine Bring Me the Horizon having also
Same
had
thing.
that in such on a very large scale, where it's like just totally bringing out something that has their essence, but has such a new spin on it, where I can just definitely imagine a lot of people putting up like sad emoji faces and crying emoji faces in the reactions, like, so
Yeah, I feel that, but I also like, I don't know, maybe I might be in the minority of it, but I like when a band doesn't compromise on their sound. Like if it's going to be
mm,
something that's written from their heart, like that they are fully invested in, I'd rather have that than for them to continue on and write like 3 of the same records in like the span of 6 years or
all right,
however
totally.
long it takes them to write a record. Just it just feels more invested when when you see them live and they're playing these songs. Like it just comes across a lot more like genuine, a little bit more honest when
Mm,
a band's invested in it and then they want to play this music and not like, not to say like their old music is like, oh, this old music's trash, I don't really like that, but I think it's more appropriate as an artist to have that honesty and have fans that are going to be like, you know what, like I might not like this record now, but like maybe I might like the next record,
yeah,
having a
yeah.
positive spin to that. And I don't know if I don't know if Livingston's gone through that at all since you're releasing new music. Do you feel like that's with your fans, do you feel like you guys have been pretty good on that front or?
I mean, with the way that this album was written, it was written over quite a long period of time, and
Mhm.
parts of it were when we were in like actually large parts of it were in different countries with where we were not even together.
Mhm.
It's quite an introspective album in that sense. It's really like a, a personal statement for us as well, where we also experimenting with new sound and like and just not really thinking about it. I guess that's the best way to describe it. We didn't really think about it. It just kind of happened bit by bit by bit over time. So, I'm going from, the first single already now, and even in the second single, the reactions of the people generally have been very positive, very
That's awesome.
supportive, they're just every time happy to hear something new come out, because we've been kind of a little bit in hiatus over the last few years, doing spending some time with our families and just being a little bit of a
Yeah.
different headspace for a bit, and but generally the reactions have been very positive, and naturally there are always, like I said, those few reactions where people are like, oh, what is this? what what is this? But anyway, nonetheless, I have to say that we have a wonderful fan base, very loyal and loving, and I know that they hear our essence in there as well, even when certain elements are not their favorites. But the exciting thing is that we've just suddenly gained a whole new, audience. We had such a great reaction, actually, from countries where we had never even had any contact.
Sure, yeah.
All of a sudden, a lot of contact, a lot of plays, a lot of reactions, and that's just been very nice. That's very exciting,
There
because
you
then
go.
it's also their first experience where they're like, "Who the hell is this?" So
Well, that's what I thought initially, but then Val sent it to me, and I know Val, she gives me some of the best bands, so I was like super pumped about it, and I checked it out, and I was like, I'm not saying this because Chris is on here, just for the record, guys. But I genuinely liked it. Like I'd never heard of Livingston prior to this, and I was like, this is something I could be on board with because like it kind of encompasses some of the bands that I love, and you kind of reiterated it and the influences. And I was just like, I gotta. I told Val, I was like, I have to get these guys on because it's something that I feel like when I have bands on, like I'm gonna promote the ever living crap out of them because
oh,
because
great,
I think
thank
they're
you.
sick. So check out Livingston. But Chris, kind of the segue into the next question. Uh, as you had mentioned, you had a new fan base, you have new people checking out your stuff. And I imagine with this interview, there's going to be new people checking out Livingston. So, what would be one track that you would recommend for them to listen to? It could be a new track that hasn't been released yet. This is coming out in the end of July, so you have time. So, if there's something that comes out in future tense, maybe they can check that out.
You know, that's kind of a tricky one. If there was one song that they could listen to,
Do you have multiples? You can
I
give me multiples.
I mean, you know what? Maybe it's because it's fresh for me, and maybe it's also because it's, but I mean, also emotionally and psychologically current. I would say have a listen to our current two singles that are out. I mean, we have a third single out as well, which I'd like to also just give a little plug to. Our record label had their 5-year anniversary.
Awesome.
Crod Records, they're called. So Crod Records had their 5-year anniversary, and the bands, a bunch of us covered each other,
That's so sick.
which is actually a great idea. Jordan, the label head, he came up with the idea, and he. So anyway, the short of it is, my plug is this record, this Crod 5-year record, is going to be available very very soon. So have a look on either our social media or Crod Records, and you can get it on cassette tape. For those of you who know what that is, it's,
I do.
but you do. Okay, great, great. No, but to get back to the songs, actually, for our sound, I would say our latest three releases. There was our current single that we just released, "Show Me the Money," and then we did this cover, Sunday Best, actually,
Ooh,
which I think also, even though it's a cover, it has our kind of thing in it. Just go check
yeah.
out our last three releases, and there I think it quite encompasses our vibe, our sound.
It
So
has the signature Livingston
I would
sound.
say so. Yeah, I would say so.
There we go. Well,
Yeah,
Chris gave three options, so you should go check out all three of them because listen, you don't want to let Chris down. You gotta check
exactly,
out all three of them. You gotta let him know which one you like
exactly.
the most.
And then you come back to Brandon and you tell him which
Yeah,
it was.
you have to comment below. Comment below. Tell me which one
Exactly.
was your favorite. I'd love to know. But the next question, Chris, you kind of alluded to it. You may have already answered it, but we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Um, Obviously you had mentioned that Crowd Records did where you covered other bands on the label songs, but if there was a band that you would want to cover, a song you would want to cover that is outside of that, just like a fan of a band that you
Mm.
enjoy, what song would you want to cover?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I tell you why it's tricky, because what tends to happen, I think, when people pick covers is like two different ways. One is like, I could just bang this out, and I like the vibe. I could just bang this out and maybe make it better. But then
Yeah.
there's the other side where it's like, I really like this song. And so
Yeah, true.
exactly. And then when you actually sit down and start to reinterpret it, where it's like, well, it's a tricky one, because you pick the song that you really like. What am I doing to actually do the difference? So, but I think if I would, I would probably say "Exit Music for a Film" by Radiohead. I mean, I know that's like, it would have to be done so differently, though, because obviously for me that song is just a masterpiece. But that to do that well, I would say that would be quite a dream for me.
There we go. That's I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like that question is always like I always get like people that like know exactly what they want to do, or they're like, I don't know, it's like sacred ground to me, like a
Yeah.
cover song is like a song that represents me as an individual that really loves and respects that band, and you don't want to kind of like step on it, or you don't want to like have people be like, you made the song worse or whatever or something like that, like
Exactly.
I would hope that's not the case. I feel like you guys would be pretty good at making a cover, you know on the same level at the very least. But I always appreciate, I think the thing that I love about covers is when a band is able to make it their own. Like if it's a song that I'm familiar with and I'm like, wow, they put such a cool spin on it, I think that's when it really lands well for me. Not necessarily like, oh my god, they're covering it like note for note, chord for chord, all that sort of stuff. I really appreciate when they put their own spin on it and it's like still a familiar song to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It is like many times actually I've met people who or had people comment on songs and where they were absolutely in love with songs and had not actually even heard the original. And so that also just goes to say, I think it speaks for the quality of how good that song was to begin
Mm.
with, that even then a reinterpretation can make somebody fall so in love with the song. So
Or
yeah,
find a new appreciation for it. Like if it's a song that you already know that you haven't listened to in a while, and you're like, and then
yeah,
a band that you see live, they're like, oh, we're gonna cover this song, and I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that song in ages, and then they cover it in
yeah,
such a
yeah,
unique way. I'm like, wow, I have a new appreciation for it. So
yeah,
it's always cool. Hopefully, Livingston will have some cool covers,
yeah,
very soon.
yeah, yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But the
Yeah,
next
yeah. I
question,
mean, yeah, we're not just on a final note before you ask the next question.
yeah,
It's
sure.
just to say with regards to the cover thing. I think we were when we were younger, particularly like, really, it's not such a good idea to do covers because it's just, you're not being original. But actually now, I think we all have a different opinion of it. Where like, if the song's damn good, and you make a nice version of it, then like, who cares? We're
Also,
not
I feel
we're not
like
precious.
another point to add to that is like if I see a band live and I'm not familiar with their work and they do a cover and they do it super well, that makes me want to check out the band because I'm unfamiliar with their work, but I know the song
Yeah,
and I know
yeah,
how the song sounds, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. They did a great job of not making it exactly the same, but they made it their own, and I think I appreciate that even more so. So
yeah.
great points, Chris. Gotta give you that. But the next question, a fun one. Favorite food to eat? What's the go-to?
Oh, that's gonna for me. It's gonna be sushi.
Ooh.
I'm a I'm a sushi maniac. I tell you,
Do you
I'm a
have a
sushi
go-to?
maniac.
Do you have a go-to like roll?
I tell you what. Yeah, my go-to. You mean like a specific go-to sushi element, or do you mean
Yeah.
a restaurant? Okay,
I,
well,
I mean like a go-to like if you were like looking at a menu and it was
uh,
like this is like, this roll or this roll or whatever.
I
Or do
well
you just
I
or do you just go do you just look at the list and you're like, I'll take one of
it,
these, I'll take one of these.
you know what? I really I wasn't kidding when I said I'm a maniac. I have saved onto the cloud. Um, in my notes, I have saved on the cloud what particular things I like. No
That is
joke.
awesome. That is some
So
dedication, Chris.
yeah, so I'm just signing in here, and then I'm gonna tell your audience what they should go for.
There we go. Tell them.
Okay, I'm just getting it up here, and it'll be worth it. I tell you, because
I'm excited.
I've tried most, and okay, so here we go. The sake avo io is absolutely phenomenal. So this is the round like lachs. What is English for lachs? The, um, the fish with the orangey color. My goodness, I can't think of the English word for it.
It's not
Um,
it's not like
hold on.
it's not caviar, is it?
No. It's like the you also get like the steaks of it. Hold on. I'll
We're gonna
tell you in a
find out.
second.
Chris is
Anyway,
on the
so
case.
the audience can look up for themselves. So it's this orangey colored fish, fantastic. So and avocado. I'm an avocado maniac as well.
Yeah,
And
avocado is
they're like
delicious.
they're like this is like the California roll style. And then there's the same thing, the sake avo crispy, hot
Oh,
tip. So fried sushi, damn. I
yes.
mean, amazing. I think the Japanese people really discovered an unbelievable thing there. The gold
Yeah.
mine of food. The ebi tempura, io, another hot tip. And last two, not to bore you guys with the sake avo maki. Sorry again, my Japanese brothers, if I'm pronouncing this, and it's like razor blades in your ears. I'm sure
It's
you
okay.
understand. And then teka maki is the other one. So there you have
Oh,
it. You can thank me, and once I have my sushi restaurant open, you can all come as well. You're
there
all
we go.
invited.
Well, Chris, hopefully if once this pandemic is over, you guys tour the states,
Yeah.
There's this place near where I live. They make this roll. It's called the Godzilla roll, and
Oh,
it's a sushi roll, and they tempura batter it and they fry it, and it's
oh,
ridiculous.
dear Lord, that sounds like heaven.
Yeah, well, I mean, they
Amazing.
have to wheel you out on a cart because you're just, because you're
That sounds good.
so full of love, but I think
Sounds good.
I'm gonna try to take my guess at the orange fish that you had mentioned earlier.
Hold on.
It wasn't salmon, was it? I know salmon's.
Salmon, of course, salmon. Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Okay,
salmon.
that's what I thought.
My goodness,
I'm
I
like
can't believe I couldn't think of the word salmon. Yes,
my chef brain was thinking it's got to be
yes,
salmon. I was like,
it's
this is
salmon.
the only orange fish that I can think of.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it's salmon.
oh, salmon avocado roll. I love that. That
Oh,
sounds delicious.
fantastic.
I could go for some right now. As soon as this is over, Chris and I are
I,
gonna go get some sushi right now.
yeah, exactly.
In completely different countries. I'm just gonna send
Exactly.
him. I'm gonna send him an email of what I got. But the next question, Chris, moving it out of the food territory, which I know we love. We could talk for hours about. I feel like. But what would be one person you would want to collaborate with, whether it be a guest feature on an upcoming Livingston record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future?
Um, hmm. That's an interesting one. My goodness. I mean, to narrow it down, I would say it's I would say it's all virtually impossible because I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of like, have a very euphoric outlook on life at the moment now that I see the light at the end of the tunnel, this coronavirus, hopefully everything opening up. But I would take an easy way out and say almost any artist. I feel quite confident right now of the ones that we like to work with, because I mean also like I am, I do production and mixing as well for bands, and learning that kind of relationship from the side, working with other artists and just seeing like how different artists are. And I feel pretty confident on that side that pretty much every artist that we would pick, we would be able to make something really cool and exciting with. I know it's a cop out to say that, so I'll move on to the producer side. In that sense, I would say we worked once. I mean, we've had the privilege to work with absolutely amazing producers over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Just such beautiful, amazing, talented, legendary people. But the one time I feel where we were really under like a lot of pressure, and I feel like maybe we didn't have the band ourselves. We didn't have the kind of psychological space to get the most out of it. We worked with David Bottrell, who was
Oh, nice.
Muse, yeah, and like Placebo, Tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the man is a wizard. He's a mathematician and an artist at the same time. And but our headspace wasn't good, and he still got us to do the best that we could. But I look back and I'm like, damn, we were, moody, groggy, full of shit. Like, then we had basically toured for 2 years nonstop before we started to work with him. We mega pressure from the label where it's like, second album out now, and we were just not, or we
Not
were not on
ready.
form. Yeah, we were not on form. So that I would like to have another go with him.
There we go. Well, hopefully you get a second chance. I don't know if he's on Twitter, but if he is,
I mean,
gonna
he's
mention.
actually he's a good friend. So I mean,
We're
he's
gonna.
like,
If you watch this, you're gonna. I mean, I feel like if I'm gonna have to give the cosign, give Chris another chance, give Livingston another chance. I feel like you guys would create some
yeah,
magic. So
no,
I give the
absolutely.
cosign to it.
He's yeah. No, I'll make sure that he watches that and he knows that you've given a cosign as well. But luckily, I
Somebody
mean,
is not in the band. Yeah, right.
he's a super nice guy, very down to earth, and he would, but we just have to write the new material.
Well, there we go. Well, that not putting any pressure on you, Chris, but I just feel like
Stop it, Brandon! Stop it!
Just
The
say it. I
pressure.
mean, that would be. I just feel like that would be. I would want to hear that. So you do it as you may. I know we're in a pandemic right now, so try to keep everybody on the low key.
Yes.
thing going on here. But the next question, Chris, we know you play keys, you know, you do a bunch of other instruments, you do some production work. But if there was another musical instrument you could add to your repertoire, what instrument would you want to learn?
I'd love to learn violin.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to learn violin. My mother was a violinist, and the violin was there. It was right there. But it was I just never really paid much attention to it. So, but I absolutely love the violin, and I'm also um, there's this YouTube channel called Two Set Violin, uh, which are these two guys who are classical violinists, and they're from Australia,
Hmm.
and kind of everything around their channel is from that kind of classical music world, which I also partly grew up with. Like
Yeah.
from it's something I identify with as well. But yeah, just lately, especially now during the pandemic, I've been kind of having these guys in the background while I'm cooking or something like this. Classic guys, and yeah, the violence thing has just been playing around in my head. Where I was like, damn, if I didn't have such like the kind of big piano fingers, like I don't know how agile these would be actually on that small
on the
bridge, but
on the
on
violin,
this
yeah.
neck. I mean, yeah. But anyway, that would be my instrument.
There we go. And
Yeah.
speaking about piano, was piano your first instrument that you learned how to play, or was there
Yeah,
another instrument prior to that?
no, piano was the first. I mean, because we had a couple of pianos in the house, and
Hmm.
it, I mean, it's just such an inviting instrument, and with my mother also kind of being very supportive of us listening to things. The thing is that my mother's pitch perfect,
Oh,
and
okay. That's
well, I
cool.
mean, it's like it's cool, but it's also a curse. So because everything that she hears, she has to kind of like if it's in key, it's fine. If it's not, it's annoying.
Yeah, sure.
Every
Yeah.
time like we even walk in the street and we hear like somebody's garden bells or something, and she'd be like ba 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 da 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 da, like like telling us the harmonies or whatever. And yeah, and so yeah, she'd be very encouraging for us to get in front of the piano, but more so when it was tuned.
Yeah. Fair, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, I've known some people in my lifetime that have been pitch perfect, and I try to not play in front of them. Not that I play off key or anything, but
yeah.
I don't have perfect pitch, so I can attest to having that sort of issue.
I have to tell you something actually really funny because she we actually brought her to London many years ago, even before we had a record deal. Where and we were playing like which was at the time for us like a really big show at a
Hmm.
place called the Clapham Grand, and so my mother came to visit me, came to the show. Obviously, she knows all the band members,
Yeah.
and for her it's just so exciting. It was always just so exciting for me to be like doing music, and then I'd get a couple of my friends to just like be with her in the audience, like take care of her, make sure she's got a nice little glass of wine or something. And then she stands there, and we could see her, all the band members obviously, and she's just standing there crying the whole time. And then backstage, everybody's like, "Was your mother crying because we were so out of tune, or because she enjoyed it?" Because they all know that she's pitch perfect. So
Oh my
it's like,
god.
and then obviously when she comes back after the show, comes backstage, and she's still all emotional, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Was it that bad?" She's like, "No, I was just so proud." It's like you guys played quite in tune. So,
She didn't want to upset you too much, as
no, no,
being a pitch perfect.
no. But
Uh,
she obviously she was very proud, and she would very lovingly obviously tell us that we were quite in tune.
there we go. That's always, you got to get the cosign from mom, right?
Yeah, I don't know how accurate that was, but yeah, that's
Well, I mean, I'm not. We're not gonna have your mom on to corroborate that, so I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. But the next question, Chris, another fun one. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it? Obviously, your band Livingston's on it. Just feel the FYI.
oh, dream tour lineup. There, I'd have to say sorry to all the kind of young current bands. I the first like tour lineups that I remember was like that was for me just unbelievable to imagine was like uh Lollapalooza, like I think like Seattle scene, Stone Temple Pilots, or like Soundgarden,
Ooh,
Pearl Jam. These guys, for me, I would have all of them come back. Unfortunately, not all of them rest their souls would be able to join us, but
yeah.
that would for me be the dream
Ooh,
tour.
that sounds wonderful. I
Yeah,
would be about that, Chris. So,
yeah, yeah,
um, definitely rest in peace, Chris
yeah,
Cornell. Man, he
yeah,
was died before his time. But
yeah.
next question, Chris. Speaking on, obviously, we talked about the Dream Tour lineup. Who puts on a great live performance in terms of the bands that you've seen?
For me, without a question, the thing that the band that I most recently saw that just blew my brains out is Brand New.
Oh, okay.
Brand New. I mean, it's unfortunate that they're not so active, but we actually we were on the same bill as them a couple of years ago, and like at a festival, and it was we all in the band really liked them,
Hmm.
and it was great because they were I think we played on the Friday night, and then they played on the Sunday night, and for us it was like the perfect ending to that festival weekend watching them. But from the first note, all of us just froze. I mean,
Yeah.
the performance was just unbelievable. Anybody who has a chance to see Brand New, go. Don't even hesitate, and you're welcome. You're
There
welcome.
we go. Chris, make sure to let Chris know if you go to see Brand New. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they're doing if they're on hiatus or doing any touring, but
Yeah.
check them out if you haven't already. But the next question, Chris, another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Ooh, favorite TV show. Oh, damn, I mean, I feel like I'm not a good interviewee participant because I'm like, I don't actually watch much TV.
That is
I
okay.
mean, like everybody, I guess I binge once in a while with a series. I would say the first season of True Detective for me was like
Oh, okay. Yeah.
really, really great. Favorite movie? Um, wow, that's a tricky one. Unbreakable. No, that's yeah. Was it the movie with Bruce Willis? Um,
I think it's Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
I'm gonna corroborate it right now as Chris
Yeah, yeah.
gives his explanation. I think it's Unbreakable. Let me take a look.
With it was with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis um, uh,
Yes, it was Unbreakable. Yep.
and the actress Wright Penn. I forgot her first name. Robin Wright Penn. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Robin Wright. Yep. You got
Fantastic.
it. Look at
Yeah,
that, Chris. You're on point. I was just making sure, I wanted to make sure the internet didn't come at you for not remembering a movie
yeah.
that
I
happened in
think
2000.
exactly. Oh my goodness. No, that movie I really liked because I had not read any reviews, not I didn't have any info whatsoever, and it's got this kind of this almost like a Soviet or slow pace to it, and so don't know what's going on, and then realizing what's going on, it was like wow, amazing, damn amazing. So I really enjoyed that. I watched the second one as well. Not quite as good for me, still very entertaining, but the first one was very good for me.
There we go. Well, I'm glad you went into it blind, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always a good move. I always think that's like one of the best things when you go to see a movie, you don't know anything about it, is go to enjoy it.
Oh, it's the best way. I really don't even want to hear. I don't even want to see how many stars it has. My girlfriend's always got away with like, oh, it's got good reviews. I'm like, no, no,
Oh,
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
need to. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, I just want to go to enjoy the movie, and that's it. There we go. I feel that, Chris. I feel that in my heart of hearts right there. But the next question is, if you were trapped on a desert island or in quarantine for another month and there was one record you could listen to, what record would it be?
Um, I would I would presume that I had my phone with me first of all
Yes,
when I
yes.
landed there,
There you
and
go.
so I have a playlist.
Oh, you have a
Um,
playlist. Okay, interesting. Taking this
so
route.
so it's modern times. Which record? I'm like, you mean playlist, right? so so for me to really kind of relax, I always put on a playlist by Rob Skinner, which is classic country music, 60s, 70s, 80s. And it like lulls me to sleep. No, but in the best way possible. I mean emotionally, not out of boredom. I mean in the way that if I put it on, that just calms me down. I can have the
It's
worst
soothing.
day. Yeah. So if I'm stuck on a desert island, I first of all I might be celebrating because I'm like, yes, finally I'm here, so I can test out all those things from all those questions I got. But yeah, no, that would be my record.
That's awesome, Chris. Chris won the. That was my favorite answer of today. Was that one? Well, I don't know. The sushi one was probably my favorite one, actually, if I'm going to be honest. But
Okay.
the last thing, Chris, the most important thing, tell the people where they can find Livingston at on social media, and then what you guys got coming up in the next couple months.
Okay, so basically, in the next couple of months, we have two more singles coming. Um, so the dates on them, I'm going to actually get Val to send you, and they're going to appear right here. Actually, also with all of our social media links, because I just know if I say all of them now, I'm going to get them wrong because some places we have Livingston London, some places we have Livingston Music. So you're going to get all of those, and they're going to appear right here.
And down
And
below.
but the easiest thing really is if you look up Livingston Band on Google, then you will see a bunch of different things for us. Same thing on most of the social media platforms. And obviously, if you go into Spotify, Apple Music, or any of those things, you just search for Livingston. And if you find the one with the freaky looking people, that's us.
You're not giving
So,
yourself enough credit. You guys are all very, very good looking men,
the,
so
the freaky good looking man. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate
when we're
that.
gonna take the freaky out, we're just gonna say very good looking men. That's
Okay, thank you.
listen, I'm all about the positive reinforcement. I
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you.
gotta give them the love. But speaking about love, gotta give love to Val again. She does a great job. She
Yeah.
kills it. So I gotta give her some love. And please come on, Val. Come on to the channel. I know you don't want to, but I'm gonna. This is me calling you out. So if you're gonna do
Yeah,
it,
make
you
her
should
do
do it.
it.
You're gonna
Make her
have
do
to
it.
do it. I know your English may not. I'm like, if Chris is on here, come on, you can do it. I know you can.
She can
Uh,
definitely do it. Yeah,
but go check out Livingston. All of the links will be below where you can check out Livingston on all their social media. It'll also be blasted on this screen because post Brandon will be on the case on that. So make sure to go follow them on social media. Really fantastic band. Like, honestly, it was such a privilege to have Val send this over, and they're killing it. So go check out all of their singles. Check out the cover series that they got going on. They got a lot of crap going on. So you want to be informed, you want to check it out. And if you enjoyed this interview, share, like, and subscribe. I know a lot of YouTubers say that, but honestly, helps my reach. It helps me get out to more people like you that checked out this interview. And yeah, if you enjoy that sort of stuff. And also thanks to Chris from Livingston for coming on tonight, man.
Thanks so much, Brandon, for having me. And like the man said, share, like, and subscribe Brandon's channel. That's what makes this stuff happen. So